It is a Monday. I am Mo. This is Mondays with Mo. This is my weekly opportunity to pop in and chat with you all about stuff and things. Consider this to be our virtual kitchen table, and we talk about any and everything that um, helps you create the life of your dreams, helps you create the big, beautiful life that you desire. And we usually show up with something to sip and we chit chat about stuff. So today is September 30th. Can y'all believe that tomorrow is the 1st of October, and that's the fourth quarter of the year. And then it's going to be Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then it's going to be New Year's. Do y'all get that? Like, do y'all recognize that? How quickly these days are running through here? It's just a reminder that we can't afford to put off the life of our dreams for the next day or the day after or the day after. We have got to take control and take ownership right now because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, right? So let's get into this chat. Like I said, you might be watching this on a replay on Facebook, on Instagram, or even on our YouTube channel. Hello, if you are catching us on YouTube. Let's get into this conversation tonight. So, two topics tonight to discuss. And the first one is a question. Who helps you wash your wig? Who is the person that you can call when you are ready to take the wig or the mask or the whatever thing that's not attached to you off and be 100% authentically you, and you can trust in knowing that that person is not going to judge you and they are going to be there to support you and love you regardless? This question was inspired by Serena, the GOAT, posting on, I think it was on her Snap, that she was washing her wigs, and she had the wig that she had just got through washing. She was like combing it out, and she moves the camera around. The wig is sitting on a wig head, and she's talking about how she just got this new wig head, and the wig head was attached to the body of the person that is her husband. And he sat there and let her put every like 4 or 5 different wigs on his head, and she combed those wigs out, and she talked about the importance of washing the wigs and keeping the wigs clean and everything. And he was there to support her because at that moment, that's what she needed. So I need all of you watching to make sure, because if you don't have somebody that will do that for you, and this is the thing, that person does not need to be in a romantic relationship with you. I'm not saying it needs to be your significant other, but you do need to have a person in your life that when you need to blow snot bubbles, and you need to roll all over the floor, and you need to take your lashes off and wipe off that eyebrow, and you need to take off the wig, that person will be there to support you and help you wash the wig. Because, you done been rolling around on the floor and now the wig is dirty. So now you got to wash that thing. So we all need to have at least one person like that in our lives, because you can't live your life being disconnected from who you really are. And we're going to talk more about that later. But you can't go through life wearing the wig and being being out of alignment with who you are. You have to give yourself an opportunity, a safe space, and the support to be able to take that off and go through and work through the things that you need to work through. And you need a support circle, or at least a support person to help you do that. And that person, find your Alexis. Serena has Alexis. We need to find our Alexis. So shout out to him. And it just made me think about another recent example that we've seen of that, keeping with the hair thing. Pastor Touré Roberts, who is married to Sarah Jakes Roberts, she posted a picture, I don't know how long ago, of him cutting her tracks out. Like, if you don't have somebody that you can say, can you grab the scissors and cut these tracks out the back of my head? We all need that. We all need that person in our life, because life does its job of kicking our behinds. And if we don't have that place, that safe space, so we could go and lick our wounds and be 100% unfiltered, then we are missing out. So if you don't have somebody that helps you wash your wig or cut your tracks out, you need to find somebody, sis. You need that. Okay. Second thing that I want to talk about tonight is evolution, and this topic of evolution. You all, if you've been following us, you know that we are all about the journey of life, right? Wherever you are right now is not the end of your life. There is still more for you to do and more for you to be and more for you to become and all of that stuff. And we are just all about walking that out and achieving that, right? For everybody, not just me, not just you, but for all of us. That's part of the reason why we show up here on Mondays and have these conversations. So, talking about evolution, and I have an example of somebody that has evolved that on the surface you would think has nothing to do with us. You know, women in the primes of our lives, you know, doing our thing, bossing up, all this other stuff. And that person is John Cena. John Cena, Mr. You Can't See Me, has been evolving for probably the past, well, he's been evolving since he came on the scene, like back in the 90s. But very profoundly, probably within the past 10 to 13, 15 years, he has been moving through these different evolutions of a celebrity, I guess, but I actually think of a person, of a man. It's just that what we've seen him do publicly has been a reflection of the evolutions that he has been making internally. So let's kind of run it down for those of you that are unfamiliar. So John Cena started out, for one, he's like 42 years old, I think. So, you know, we in that same generation. And started out as a bodybuilder, like way back in the day, early 90s. And while he was a bodybuilder, he was also driving limos to make money. He did that for a couple of years. Then he started wrestling. And when he was wrestling, he had a different name. He didn't always wrestle. His real name is John Cena. He didn't always wrestle under his name. He had an alter ego, whose name he wrestled under, called the Prototype. And the Prototype, that character was nothing like the person we know now. He modeled the Prototype after the Terminator. You know, the quiet, you know, destructive, doesn't talk, and that kind of dude. He did that for a couple of years, and he actually almost got fired from I think back then it was WWF. I don't know, child. But the wrestling league, he almost got fired from that and decided for the Halloween party that year to show up dressed as Vanilla Ice. And at the party, he was caught on camera rapping, like freestyle rapping. And the thing is, that's really who he was. He was a fan of hip hop. Clearly, he showed that by who he came, how he came dressed to the party, and he did his little freestyle rap. And that video of him took off. And because of that, he adapted his persona to be John Cena, who was known as this like hip hop dude. He would come to, you know, he would wrestle in like jean shorts. He was like a cross between, you know, back in the day before he was Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark, and like Vanilla Ice. But that's closer to who he was as a person in real life. And when he kind of recognized that he didn't want to continue to be a wrestler, he wanted to kind of do other things. He actually became an ambassador for the WWE, learned Mandarin, and helped WWE expand its efforts to China. So he kind of became the face of WWE and transitioned out of being just a wrestler. He leveraged becoming the face for the league to then get into acting and doing a lot of philanthropy and all these other things. So he's an actor, been in all kinds of movies with, like, he was in, oh my gosh, what is the movie with Amy Schumer? I don't remember. He was in a movie with Amy Schumer. He was in a movie with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. He's been doing a whole bunch of things in the acting realm. He's also been doing a lot of nonprofit work. He has granted over 600 wishes for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And now is hosting like the Teen Choice Awards and doing all these other awesome things that are far removed from wrestling. So he has definitely evolved as a person. And if he can do it, what's your excuse? If he can decide that one day as a wrestler, he recognizes, you know what? This isn't all that there is to me. Being in this ring and jumping off these ropes and flipping and rolling around, there's more to me than this. And I have to go out and create the life that I know I'm supposed to be living. I have to go out and create the lifestyle that is in alignment with who I believe I am. And he went out and he did that. And I want to encourage you all that you can do the same thing. And I've got 3 tips for you to take away to help you move through this journey of evolution. Because like I said, if Cena can do it, so can you. So the first thing you have to recognize, once you've had that realization that whatever it is, whatever existence you have right now, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, if you recognize that this is not it, this is not the end of the line, then you got to do some things. You got to do some things. Nat just said it. There are so many levels to this life. And you have to recognize it. Not even if. There is no choice. You really don't have a choice. Wherever you are right now is not the end. Like, if you wake up tomorrow, then there's more for you to do. And I want all of us to recognize that. So the first kind of mindset shift that you need to make is you have to recognize that you are not competing with anybody else. You are competing with you. Because what happens is we put ourselves in competition with other people that we see on social media and that we see at the grocery store and we see all these other different places. We put ourselves in competition with them, and then that forces us to kind of pursue things that are not meant for us, right? We go after things that we are not supposed to be going after because we are looking at somebody. We are looking over in somebody else's lane and thinking, if she can do it, I can do it. But see, that's not for you to do. You have something else to do. So you are not competing with anybody, and nobody is competing with you. The evolving woman recognizes that she can be competitive, but only with herself. You are competing with the you of yesterday. You are competing with the you of last month, of last year, of your 20s, of your teens. That's who you're competing with. You're not competing with anybody else. That's the first tip. Second tip, and this one's going to be hard because we women, and I can only speak for women because I am a woman. I don't know if men do this or not. But we women will wrap ourselves up in stories about what happened in the past. And then we get stuck in that story, and that story becomes our identity. So the second tip is to use your pain to motivate you. This is the thing. This is the physics shift that I want you all to make. So whatever it is that has happened in your past, in your life, for good and for bad, those experiences created energy, right? And energy, physics dictates that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only change forms. So energy can't be created or destroyed. It can be transformed. So you have to decide that the energy of that past painful experience is going to be transformed for something that is going to evolve you. Instead of allowing it to continue to be something that wears you down, that drags you down, that holds you back, that keeps you stuck, you've got to flip it. You have to decide that your pain, the stories, the negative experience, the past hurts, the challenges, the traumatic experiences that you went through, that energy, you have to decide that that energy is now fuel to help you be better. Because this is what I believe. Nothing happens by accident. Even the horrible things that have happened to you are for a reason. You are supposed to come out on the other side of that experience, recognizing the lessons and having the testimony that's going to help somebody else. But if you stuck in the story, you can't possibly help anybody else. You can't pull somebody else through it if you stuck in it too. So if you want to evolve, you got to recognize that it's time for you to start turning the energy of that pain into something that's going to motivate you and push you forward. You can't stay stuck in it. You absolutely cannot stay stuck in it. Somebody is waiting for you to come and help them out of the same thing that you came out of last year, or in your early 20s, or as a teenager. Somebody is going through that same thing right now, and only you can help them through it. You have the words, you have the testimony to help them through it, but you can't get there if you stuck in the story yourself. Tip number 3. For the woman that has decided that she wants to evolve like John Cena, you got to be authentic. Your inner identity has to align with who you present yourself to be on the outside. Because after a while, that internal conflict is going to manifest itself. And it's going to manifest in something negative, like maybe drinking, maybe anger, maybe some kind of other substance dependency, maybe overeating, maybe not eating at all, maybe oversleeping or not sleeping at all, depression, anxiety. That inner conflict, if you are presenting yourself as one thing and that does not reflect who you really are, that inner conflict is going to take you out. So you have got to be authentic. That actually is step 1. Step 1 is deciding that who you are externally is going to match who you are internally. That's step 1. You have to have that alignment between the inner self and the outer self. And that's going to require you to maybe be vulnerable in certain situations. You don't have to always be cool, calm, and collected. Sometimes you can be vulnerable because that's who you really are. That's the truth in this moment. Sometimes you have to be vulnerable. Sometimes you have to make sure that whatever actions you are taking are the ones that you really want to take. So you aren't going along to get along. You're not avoiding confrontation for the sake of peace. Because doing those things cause internal conflict. And if you are conflicted internally, you definitely cannot evolve. You definitely cannot be authentic. You can't move on. You are doing damage to yourself. So, if you want to take a page from the book of John Cena and decide that it's time for you to live out the vision that you have for yourself, live that out and walk that out, you got to do 3 things. And now I'm going to read them backwards. 1, you got to be authentic. Inner you has to match the outer you. And sometimes that means you got to make drastic changes. Maybe that means you cut your hair off. Maybe that's what that means. Because the way you are presenting yourself just doesn't match how you feel anymore. It doesn't match who you want to be anymore. Maybe you decide to start working out and change your whole eating habits and just revitalize your whole everything. Maybe you take up a foreign language. Maybe you start dating or stop dating or whatever. You got to be authentic. That's the first tip. Second tip, use your pain to motivate you. Transform that energy. Flip that energy to something that uplifts instead of something that destroys. And then 3, recognize that because you compete with no one can compete with you. Okay? You are in a lane of your own. You are competing with nobody, and nobody is competing with you. What matters is the next hurdle. What matters is the thing that's in front of you. You're not looking to the left and to the right to see who else is doing what, or what she just bought, or what purse she has, or whether she just got the promotion. You're not looking at that. You staying focused on your own lane. And that is how you can evolve like John Cena.